Kentucky Republican Senator Dr. Rand Paul. Senator Paul, it's a pleasure. Thanks for joining us. You're always welcome on Freedom Watch.
Good to be with you, Judge.
If the president does, in fact, announce tomorrow night that he somehow thinks he can repair the damage that's been caused to the economy in the past 4 years and earlier with another $300 billion in borrowing and spending, is that likely to be dead on arrival in the Senate?
Well, you know, my question is, if spending money from the government works, why did $1 trillion they spent last year not work? So I don't think government stimulus works. What we need to do is get government out of the way and let the private sector begin employing people again. A regulatory moratorium, permanent tax cuts. You know, those are the things that might work, but I think he's going to propose the same policies he tried last year.
And don't even the Democrats and some of the Republicans who are sympathetic to big government see, as you just cataloged, that doesn't work. It didn't work last time. We've spent trillions since 2008. Another $300 billion is not going to work. Stated differently, isn't he sort of speaking in the wind? Doesn't this have no chance of passing in the Republican House or with a filibuster rule in the Senate?
Yeah, I've been trying to help him. I've told him, you know, one of the best ways would be to get rid of the advisors who've been giving you bad advice. Let Timothy Geithner go back. I mean, nothing that he has proposed has worked so far, so why would he keep taking the same advice?
You actually, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Senator Paul, introduced legislation earlier today which calls for a vote of no confidence in Secretary Geithner. What's behind your doing that?
Well, you know, we want to express that the American people have lost confidence. You know, you saw the stock market plummet after the debt ceiling deal. That was a vote of no confidence by investors across the world and across America that what this administration's doing is not working. We want to formalize that and let the Senate vote on this. Unfortunately, surprise, surprise, Harry Reid really doesn't want to have that vote.
Do you think that your Republican colleagues, some of whom are not going to attend the speech tomorrow night, I understand that you will, the Speaker of the House hasn't even designated someone to rebut the president, do not take him seriously any longer when it comes to the economy because it's the same thing over and over and over again?
Well, I think we're living in a failed presidency. There's a certain malaise out there. And the reason he's not taken seriously is because, you know, he talked about 8 months ago about reevaluating all the regulations to see what could be repealed. They've repealed one regulation, and he's proposed 1,200 new regulations that will cost $70 billion in the first 8 months of this year. So he's not serious. You hear one thing on TV, and then he doesn't follow through. He does completely the opposite of what he actually tells you he's going to do.
What do you think will happen with FEMA? They have $800 million in the bank. They promised about $5 billion. The president and Senator Reid want to give them another $6 billion. They're not even constitutional, much less rationally based. Should they get that money because our hearts go out to the innocents who've been harmed by floods and tornadoes and fires?
I think what's worrisome is you have to know where the money's coming from. It's not coming from a stockpile of savings. It's coming from borrowed money. We borrow 40 cents on every dollar. We borrow $40,000 a second. So there are ramifications to printing all the money up to pay for that debt. High prices in the store and unemployment. And we're getting both of those in spades, and I predict it could get worse as the money that we've printed gets into the system.
I think this argument that we can't keep printing money and we can't keep borrowing money is beginning to resonate with a lot of people with whom it had never resonated before. What do you say? We have about 15 or 20 seconds left.
Well, you know, I think people see it in the grocery store. When they see their gas prices doubling, there's a reason. It's because the value of your dollar is shrinking because your government's printing all this money to pay for the debt, and it's coming to an end. We have to do something about it before it's too late.
Senator Paul, it's a pleasure. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Amazon